Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jonesboro, Arkansas. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Joined with me is Steve Dodge, our Disc Golf Pro Tour Director. And, Steve, we're here for another stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. What's going on?
So our fourth Pro Tour event. This is a very exciting day. Disc Side of Heaven is a great place to challenge these guys. One interesting stat that I've learned over the last 7 or 8 Pro Tour events that we've had, if Ricky Wysocki's leading after the first round, he wins the tournament. That's just the way it's been on the Pro Tour. It'll be exciting to see what unfolds today.
And I think he's playing today, and we're going to feature him along with Simon Lizotte, Big Jerm Koling, and JohnE McCray. Let's get right to it. We're here on hole 1 at Disc Side of Heaven. You're watching live disc golf on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live on the tee for the 3 o'clock time. We've got Ricky Wysocki, Jeremy Koling, Simon Lizotte, and JohnE McCray. Ricky, your box. Good luck, gentlemen.
Ricky Wysocki laces his first shot of the round, puts him inside circle 1. Great way to start the round. Light wind as Big Jerm's shot turns over to the right side. We're feeling a slight right to left wind.
Simon Lizotte puts it off to the right into the tree. He's going to have a very long shot for birdie.
And the headwind picked up just as JohnE McCray stepped onto the tee. He's turned that over. We're going to see if it can finish. It's hyzering out. And we've got action from the women's lead card earlier this morning. Let's get right to it as we move down the fairway on hole number 1. And from 30 feet outside of circle 2, maybe 20 feet outside circle 2, hits one of the new raised baskets that we saw a few weeks ago, Steve.
That's right. This elevated basket, sponsored by the Pro Tour and Rexarm, and hole 1 was actually the most difficult putting hole. an 83% completion rate inside circle 1. So significantly more difficult than your average tear bear.
Well, with that raised basket, people have to think about it here on this opening hole. The round Big Germ finds himself approximately 25 feet behind circle 1. Let's do some math. What does that equal? About 60 feet or so?
I would give it 55 feet out. But McCray is throwing next.
And McCray does not draw any kind of metal. He's going to be left with a little bit of a tester. Big Germ from 48 feet. Looks like he had the height. Now, Steve, I think you said earlier there were only 3 men to birdie this hole yesterday and 1 woman, and that was Paige Pierce.
That's right. She hit about a 50-footer from basically right around where Jeremy was. Jeremy had the height. It, from our perspective, looked in. Let's see if Ricky can seal the deal.
And McCray cleans up here on one. Wysocki inside 22 feet here for the lone opportunity at birdie. And just like that, he extends his lead after the first hole. Wysocki shooting the 13 under par yesterday. Today opens up with a birdie to push him to 14. We're going to listen to a word from our sponsors and get into position on hole number 2. Stay tuned. You're watching live disc golf right here, the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
If I lay up, I get a personal best. But if I hit the putt, it's a new course record. And Ricky Wysocki here on the par 4, 820-foot hole number 2. He's on the right side. And a shot I did not see yesterday. Big Germ going with a huge anhyzer out and over. We're faced with more wind than we saw during yesterday's round. Big Germ unsure of where that is.
Simon opting for the thin gap, nice and low. Good long drive.
Johnny's looking for that to hook up and move to the left. It's flirting with the tree. It does not touch it and lands in the fairway. Let's see what the women's lead card here on hole 2. And Steve, we're here in the fairway, which is not where Jeremy Koling is at the moment. I'm not sure that he cleared the left side trees. And he's in a world of hurt on this left side of the fairway.
As a long par 4, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in the woods and basically give yourself no chance of getting near circle 2 on your upshot. Jeremy has just asked Ricky to go next because he needs to think about his shot. That's a tough shot. I'm giving a guess that Ricky's going to go next. And then we're going to see some magic from Jeremy coming out of those woods.
I love your optimism, Steve. Ricky's got a little bit of room to work with here on this right-hand side. He's got a slight uphill stance. His run-up's going to be a little bit awkward. Not only does he have to turn this over, but he has to make sure to keep it in the fairway. There's trouble off to the left and the right. Ricky definitely being aggressive here. If he wanted to throw a forehand, he could easily pitch up, walk away with the par 4. However, this backhand shot indicates to me that he's going big and he wants to get to the pin. And the tree on that right side had a branch hanging out that was just enough to grab it and pull it in. Now he is just going to be looking for the up and down. Big Germ's still assessing.
I'm going to say you were exactly right. Ricky was going for that shot. He was tight to that tree line, just a little too tight. And this is playing as the 3rd hardest hole of the day right now. So coming out of here with a par is not a bad score.
Yesterday, while filming during the opening round, I saw Devin Owens throw one in from outside circle 2. Looked to be close to 85, maybe 90 feet for the birdie. And Big Germ's roller goes right past. We're going to see a number of stakes in the ground. If it is a red and white candy striped stake of sorts, that means they're 250 feet from the pin. So anytime you see one of those, that is a 250 feet indicator from the pin. And McCray also faced with that uphill stance and run up. Tree on the left side. He's going to have a long look at birdie from there. And Simon Lizotte has placed himself perfectly in the center of the fairway. A slight uphill incline, and just a touch of headwind. I think he's got the distance.
So far, Terry, there's been a total of 1 tap-in birdie on this hole, and that was Will Schustrick. Simon's got that kind of distance.
He's going to need for that to skip up And it looks like it got a couple of skips. He's inside circle 2, so he's going to be looking at a long putt for birdie. And we're so glad you could join us for this relatively warm and slightly muggy afternoon here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is the second round of the 4-round Jonesboro Open. I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by our Pro Tour Director, Steve Dodge, and we're here with the lead card. Steve, they're trying to hunt down some birdies and stay out in front of the lead. Who shot hot earlier today?
So Paul Ulibarri right now is sitting at 8 down through 15 holes. Cody Bradshaw 7 down through 12 holes. Both very good scores with a little bit of room left to make those numbers into double digits. Let's get back to Jeremy and see if he can secure the par on this.
Big Germ looking for a pole. Faded slightly right, approximately a 20-footer for Big Germ, right side of the pin.
So Terry, I think this is the first course we've seen those 250 and 500-foot markers. It seems like a pretty good addition. Maybe that should become something standard on Pro Tour events. What do you think?
I think it really helps out the players, and it helps out people like me. Gentle hyzer approach there by Wysocki. A solid run there by JohnE McCray, faced with a slight headwind. He's to the right of the pin. Simon Lizotte is just outside circle 1's edge, approximately 35 feet from the pin. Just off the top belt here on the end of a disc catcher.
That would have been the only birdie on the card. And as you know very well, if Ricky Wysocki manages to get it in there, he's looking at his first 4 of the tournament.
And a short one, Big Germ, a little bit beside himself. I believe yesterday he said he had missed a relatively short one. He's done it here on hole 2. And McCray of Masters age here, sticking with the young guns. And Big Germ is just beside himself, knowing that he's really let one go. Ricky taps in for his first 4 of the tournament, 20 holes in. And Big Germ has about Big Germ's length to the basket. And he's in. Simon will tap in for the par. And we're moving on for more action. Stay tuned right here, the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Disc Golf Center is your #1 choice for discs, accessories, and low prices. With free shipping within the U.S. on all orders over $12, discounts from our customer rewards program, and the ability to pick out the exact weight and color disc you want from our live inventory of over 20,000 options. You'll find exactly what you're looking for. Visit discgolfcenter.com, the world's largest disc golf store.
Good, Rick. Wysocki on the tee. This is a very reachable par 3 as he's dialing in toward the pin. Comes up just short. Inside circle 1 for the putt. And 435 feet here for Lizotte. He's going to come in short. Looks like a very similar result to what we just saw from Wysocki. And that's turned over by McCray, and it's going to need to hook up, and it doesn't. Hits the long grass. He's not getting any skip over there. Big Germ's also turned that over. He's going to have distance, but that's going to be wide right, debating if he should yell 4. And Big Germ's a little bit on tilt here. We're going to move down and check out what the women scored here on hole 3 earlier today. Steve, we're moving down the fairway, and you're going to hear plenty of rustling around. There's leaves, there's grass, there's all sorts of vegetation out on this course. There's a few insects to be concerned about as well. Seen some ticks and some other things. This is a part-time cow pasture? Is that what I heard?
It used to be a cow pasture. It's now a hayfield, which I guess is a sort of indirect cow pasture. This hole is absolutely reachable for these guys, and you can see Jeremy Koling he missed that putt on 3 or 2, and now he's had that tough drive on 3. My guess is he's going to make a pretty powerful run at this. What do you think about that, Terry?
I think he'll run it. We'll see how much power's in it. He's outside circle 2's edge, probably about 75 feet from the pin, slightly uphill. And Steve, you were right. A powerful run, just on line, but a little bit high. JohnE McCray is looking at 72 feet. Johnny with a very gentle headwind. He was somewhat playing that in. Looked a little low out of his hands, however, over the rim and in for Lizotte. He's carding the birdie too. Wysocki's going to do the same. And really never a doubt. I believe we saw yesterday that Wysocki is 100% inside the circle. Circle one, is that correct? Or am I just making that up?
You might be making that up. I can pull that stat up and we can tell you on the flip side.
All right. We're going to move on in just a moment here. Again, watching the Jonesboro Open on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, stop number 4. JohnE McCray is tapped in. We'll be back with you in a few moments. Welcome back to hole number 4. Ricky Wysocki on the tee of this 585-foot par 4. And an amazing redirect here by Simon Lizotte. He hits one of the early tree branches. It redirects towards center fairway and carries for a few hundred additional feet. Big Germ opts for the low forehand. It gets a cut roll back out to the center, and he's asking himself, what is he doing? We're moving on. We've got women's coverage on hole number 4. Again, welcome back. We are here on the 4th hole. Big Germ is short and right. Correction, short and left after his forehand was not stable enough. work for Big Germ. And it looks like JohnE McCray's confirming if he's next to throw. Steve, you're telling me that this is rated as the 16th most difficult hole yesterday?
Out of 18 holes, yeah, they get just under 3.5. So about half the field gets the birdie, half the field gets the par. Everybody on this card last round got a 3. So Jeremy's already probably doing one worse. And Ricky opening up a 4-stroke lead on the entire field so far.
Wysocki is off on the right side of the fairway. He's got a forehand approach slightly uphill, and that's fading in toward the pin, comes up just short. Wysocki should have a very short putt from there. Earlier while we were on the tee, I spoke of the rustling of leaves, and as the gallery continues to grow out here, we have to be very conscious of when they're walking around. It seems as if that could be very distracting to our players. The gallery's trying to get into position just as the media is, and sometimes those extra footsteps can easily break concentration, especially when lining up a drive or a big putt. Huge putt by Simon Lizotte. Outside circle 1, maybe just inside 40 feet. It's going to be a 3. Gets the high, I guess they're all high fives when they come from Germ.
So that moves Simon Lizotte into second place by himself at 12 down.
And Big Germ just outside the distance he previously had missed from on hole 3, so hopefully he's got the yips out of his system, so to speak. And earlier today we had overcast skies for the women's round, and now the sun is out and beating down. Ricky taps in. We're through 4 holes. We'll be back with you in a few moments right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Welcome back. We are here on hole number 5. I'm giving Big Germ the thumbs up as Ricky Wysocki retains the honors here on the 5th hole. And this hole, players really have to decide if they want to go all the way for the pin or if they're going to simply lay up. And we just saw Ricky Wysocki go with the layup here. And yesterday it looked like Simon Lizotte took the bogey 5 today. He's laid up into the center of the fairway. He can navigate his up and down. He should be able to walk away with a 3 or a 4. And biting off just a little bit more than the previous 2 competitors. We see McCray with a great shot that skips up toward the OB. And it looks like it may have hit the wall and stayed in, according to Steve Dodge. He's got some super eagle vision that I don't. And Big Germ two'd this yesterday, clearly playing very aggressive. We'll see if he's going to go with the same game plan today. Might be his signature wombat, and he's going big. This is moving hard. It's got to get left. I think it's going to be short.
Oh!
And it looks like he's all the way down. He did hit land, and it's going to be close to the OB line. We have no official indicator just yet. And we're going to move down. Let's see what the women did here earlier on hole 5. And coming back just in time as Simon Lizotte goes with a lunging jump putt. And Wysocki splashes in front of the basket. Not quite ringing it up in 2, but gave it a good look.
Terry, this is one of the best Circle 2 putting holes on the course at 50%. If you're in Circle 2, you can make a comfortable run here because of the slow green, and they do, and about half of them hit it.
Not sure the green would appreciate you calling it slow, but looks like we're going to have a ruling here.
Is it normal to be rules in this hole? Do you guys know?
And what I am looking at here, folks, is that JohnE McCray's disc seems to be just past the yellow OB line. There is a out-of-bounds channel between the 2 keen barriers. And JohnE McCray is checking the scorecard where all the OB rules are listed.
Tee shot. The fairway is marked OB on the right side of the hay bales. It just stays on the land, but in the OB area on the right hay bales. Normal OB is up high. If your drive lands in the water or an OB area in front left of the green, proceed. That's really vague because that's front left on the right of the basket. You know what I mean? It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
vague.
how could you say, like,
Is that considered water?
He explained this in the players' meeting, and I didn't understand.
The intent is, if you're in that stuff, he doesn't want you to have to try to throw up and around it. He gets you to the drop zone to avoid that.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Double penalties.
the intent is to get people away from that stuff.
Okay.
So I'd play a provisional just to be safe.
One from here and one from the drop zone.
That's what I would do, just to be safe.
Okay.
All right.
So JohnE McCray is definitely OB. The question is, where is he going to throw his shots from? And McCray has in fact called provisional. He'll throw one shot from where he was last in bounds, and the second shot he'll also here throw from the drop zone. He will then bring this situation back to the tournament director at the end of the round, and from there he'll be able to figure out which way this is to be played. I think we may see the end result and score either way.
I think you're right about that, Terry. This is we had a couple of provisionals on this hole yesterday. Just worded a little funny. Brad doesn't want people to have to throw from out near these thorns, these yucky trees. And let's see Johnny get one of these in.
Oh, and if I had to guess, again, the scoring result's going to be the same for him. He's going to be taking a penalty from either position. However, I think the official result will come in that he has had to throw from the drop zone. So it's going to be a little bit of a moot point later on in terms of the score being the same, but my guess would be the drop zone.
Well, John, Terry.
And it appears that Big Germ has found himself inbounds, hence taking the lie from where he's at the moment. Had he been OB, he would have also had to go to the drop zone.
Yes!
And a huge putt by Big Germ Koling, the Eagle 2 here on hole number 5. Simon Lizotte gives him a little low 5. And so careless, or effortlessly is maybe the better term, Lizotte will tap in for the birdie, as will Wysocki. And again, JohnE McCray will likely be carding the 4 with either position.
There we go.
And he taps in. We're going under the beautiful hole 6. Stay tuned right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Deuce, deuce.
For driving with power or into a headwind, Vibram designed a distance driver with amazing glide and a strong, predictable fade. It is the ideal disc for big arms, forehand drives, and smooth right-to-left finishes. Introducing the Olace from Vibram. Durability, grip, performance.
Big Germ's got a forehand out and over the water. I believe this comes in at 315 feet. And we're going to spoil it a little bit. In just a few moments, you guys are going to see Jessica Weese attack this. We'll see if anyone can duplicate her efforts. Maybe even make a slight adjustment.
Maybe just a couple inches higher.
And Wysocki is tracking just left of the pin. That should be a tap in for Wysocki. And forehand is the choice here as this island green pin. And hitting close to the basket but bouncing just outside of Wysocki's. And with the only backhand shot, he's tracking and just misses. 4 great drives. I think Jessica Weese did it better. Let's move on for hole number 6. Big Germ has done it again. He's missed a very short putt. That was less than 10 feet. Lizotte taps in. And McCray is in, as will Wysocki. Very easy cleanup, 3 birdies and a very short miss putt by Big Germ. We're through hole number 6. We'll be back in a moment.
What did you just do?
I'm stamping this misprint.
Yeah, but you triple stamp the double stamp.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Can't do.
Cannot.
Can't do.
Cannot.
Can't do.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't, Eric.
Guys, enough!
You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Just do it!
And welcome back, everyone. Steve Dodge, you have some numbers for us? What's going on?
So right now, obviously, we got Ricky in the lead at 17 down. He's actually 4 strokes ahead of Simon, who's 13 down. Jeremy Koling, with those 2 missed putts, is in 3rd place, 5 shots behind.
And this is a blind shot as the players throw up and over the hillside. Our catch cam, Chad, will do his best to try and give you the finish here of the shots, but The players are just throwing blindly over this hill. They want to keep it low for this long par 4. Great shot by Simon. And McCray proving that youth does not matter here, as he also puts a very solid move on that. Big Germ's going to channel his inner short putting spirit. Not sure he can put them much closer. That's a huge crush. However, it's turning over wide to his right. It's going to finish back near the tee of hole 3, I believe. The women played out here a little earlier on hole number 7. Let's see what they did just a few hours ago. McCray will be first to throw. He goes with a turnover shot that's coming in toward the pin. Hit some of the lower limbs. Going to be left with a putt from there. Ricky Wysocki in a much more precarious position. That'll be the biggest word I use today. At least correctly, anyway.
Especially if you try.
And Wysocki's forehand gets a little wind movement. And he's at the mouth. We also see world champion Paige Pierce out here taking in the action. Paige, as we mentioned, played earlier, was in the lead moving into today by 2 strokes. However, not the result at the end of the day. She struggled as the final few holes completed. And Lizotte has branches in front of him. He goes with a big turnover that's fading toward the pin. However, gets hung up by some of the guardian trees. So although he had very good distance, definitely the most amount of obstacles, Big Germ also has some low-hanging branches. See, Big Germ is lining up the forehand, and we've got Big Germ's much better half in terms of doubles partners, Paige Pierce here. Paige, you got a full round in this morning. We're out here. What are you watching this afternoon on the lead card?
Well, that last putt, I was hoping I could come in for Germ in doubles and tap that one in for him. But we'll see. I'm sure that's not going to happen again, so I'm sure we're going to see some awesome shots by these guys. I just walked up, so I don't really know what's going on.
Well, I'll fill you in. Big Germ missed a putt from similar distance a few holes ago, very early in the round.
Really?
I believe it was on hole 2. It was less than 15 feet, and so that's 2 of them. We're hoping he can get his head on straight and start dialing those in.
Yeah, I watched right when I first walked up. I saw a big one he hit on 5. So it seems like he's just a little unconfident on the short ones.
And ringing around the left side of the basket and in. A little earlier, Steve Dodge told me that the 16th hardest hole was in fact hole 4, but now he's saying that this hole is. I'm not sure what Steve's talking about, but if you get a 3 here, you have worked very hard for it, and you definitely deserve the birdie. Big Germ back in stride. And a collective gasp here in the crowd as everyone thought that was going to bounce back out. It teetered on the rim and then ultimately dipped in for the birdie by Wysocki. And JohnE McCray with the patented turbo in. We'll be back in a few moments from hole number 8. Wysocki here on the tee. This shot plays from left to right. Sets up perfectly for the forehand. Wysocki is 2 feet away. He cannot see it from the tee. I had to give him the indicator. Great shot by Wysocki trying to ring this up in 1.
Is that why you pointed to both of your feet? Because it's 2 feet away?
And Simon, rather than going with the also obvious forehand, gets tricky, plays the trick shot, roller up the hill to within 18 feet of the pin. Let's see what JohnE McCray's got. He's going to look for a big turnover here, probably with a mid-range or a putter. And that is panning nicely. There's only so close you can get with a turnover shot, but that's about as close as what could be done here. And again, the obvious choice, if you've got it, is a forehand. Big Germ's Wombat comes in near the tree line, and he may have gotten caught up. We saw some heroics by Felberg there yesterday. Let's see what the women did earlier on hole 8. Center chain for Mr. McCray. And Big Germ finding his stroke there with a nice straddle putt. Gallery loves the effort by Lizotte's roller, and again Ricky with a little bit of a headbanger, making quick and easy work. 8 shots and 4 birdies. We're moving on to hole 9. And welcome back, everyone. We are here on hole number 9. And Steve, one of the reasons we're waiting, it sounds as if there's a lost disc. And the likes of Tim Barham is making the long walk back here to the tee. He's going to have to re-tee on this long par 4.
That is a very long, aggravating walk. And Tim's currently sitting in 5th place right now. He's 2 under par. If you follow the Nico arrows, in fact, Chris Dickerson and Nico LaCastro who are 4 and 6 down, are both also now tied for 5th. It'd be interesting to watch how Tim recovers from this retee.
And as I feel a slight wind at our back, looks like Tim has finished in the center of the fairway. Again, a very long and probably aggravating walk after a lost disc penalty. So when he is throwing from the tee here, he's actually throwing what is his 3rd shot of the hole. Very punishing if you don't find your disc.
One of the toughest penalties in disc golf. Not only do you get the stroke and distance, but you have the full couple of minutes to walk back to think about it the whole time. You get to throw, and then you get the couple minutes to walk all the way back to where you threw your disc. The next time, very punitive. That's a rule. If I was going to look at any rule in disc golf, it would be the jump putt. But another rule that I might look at is this lost disc rule. That's very punitive, and obviously nobody does it on purpose. And I understand the concept of being fair, and if people lose a disc, they could get a separate spot on the exact same throw. I get that concept. It just seems very punitive to give somebody stroke and distance.
Well, a number of years ago, for a little bit more old school players, a few years ago, if you lost a disc, you would take it from where it was last seen. And the group would have to agree on that. And that seemed to be a relatively subjective situation. Sometimes you're hundreds of feet away, and it's tough to tell exactly where it was truly last seen. So the PDGA actually changed that rule. I don't know if that was 5 or 8 or 10 years ago now, but that's what the rule used to be. So, and
here's Tim Barham living the new rule, and right in front of our eyes, so we all know it. I'm going to run down the scores right now, if that's okay with you, Ricky. Can I call you Ricky?
Whatever you need to call me.
So Ricky Wysocki is in the lead, 19 down, as we heard at the very beginning of the show. If Ricky leads after the first round, he wins the tournament. That's the way it's been at all of the Pro Tour events so far. Simon Lizotte, 4 back at 15 down. Jeremy Koling at 14 down. I'm sure he would like to have a couple of those back. JohnE McCray at 13 down. Tim Barham, who we just saw, is currently at 12 down. Potentially will move to 11 or 10. Chris Dickerson, Nicolo Castro playing hot and moving into a tie for 5th. James Conrad, 2 down, is in 8th, and Lewis Pitney is in 8th with Devin Owens and Cody Bradshaw. Cody Bradshaw's got the hot round that I see so far, 9 down through 17. Let's see real quick if there's anybody else. Yeah, that's the hot round of the day as far as I see it. Paul Ulibarri is at 8 down, and he's done with his round. So those 2 are the hots for the day.
Well, and Cody Bradshaw was out here earlier today, as he was yesterday. He was on the bag for Jessica Weese. So this is his second go-around through the course, and getting himself a little bit of a workout in. However, it seems like it might be paying off with a solid score thus far during this round.
I guess you can't see the course too much. It'll be interesting to see if he ends up doing 8 rounds over the 4 days of the tournament. Jessica played well today. Cody's playing well today. Maybe there's something to it.
There definitely is a correlation there. All right, we'll see in just a few moments. It looks like our second card, we've been moving along very nicely with the flow. I think that's one thing that everyone can agree on, both the viewers and the players. Our flow has been very smooth throughout, and I know we're here on a little bit of our first backup, but things have been moving along very nicely.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because Brad's job, he's the manager of the Convocation Center, the arena downtown. And his job is to run sporting events. And I talked with him. I actually learned quite a bit dealing with him and talking about the spacing of cards, the spacing of the course. He is very concerned about pacing. He's very concerned about making sure everybody has a great time and things flow very nicely. On hole 5, we were just there. And yesterday there was some confusion about the end of one of the hay bales ends. And as we all know, the rule says that wherever the line ends, it just continues in that direction. There was some confusion about that, I think hopeful confusion. And but the next day there's an OB rope extended even farther, and that's the kind of thing that he does. These cards, he spaced them out 15 minutes, and it seems to, with the exception of a lost disc right here, it seems to have done exactly the right job in making us have really nice flow.
All right, well, Brad does a great job organizing events. We'll see if he's available for the Pro Tour Director next year. Let's move on. We're on the tee live on hole number 9. And Wysocki's is fading to the right. A very straight shot, however. Could have used a little more hyzer on it. And a substantial windup here by Simon Lizotte. He goes up and higher than Wysocki's line. Low line drive here by JohnE McCray. Also a great position. Solid shot by McCray. And Big Germ getting a little more into it. However, it catches the right side tree line, and that's fading down and left. We'll see how the women took on hole number 9 earlier today.
Hey everyone, it's AJ Risley. I've been on the road for about 5 or 6 weeks now. I'm going to be on the road for another 5 or 6 months for the rest of the year, and I've got another pro tip for you. When you're playing as much golf as I do and as the rest of the touring pros do, you are on your feet for pretty much 5 or 6 days out of the week. So that means...
Bring it back. Big Germ opts for the overhand shot. Looking for placement here so he can get up and down. Our friend Josh Barnhill from Boom has, in fact, picked up Big Germ's massive bag. He was just telling me about the 64 pounds that it weighs. Wysocki's off on the right-hand side of the fairway. He's got a tree to contend with. Wow, after hitting the basket, it rolls to the edge of the circle. Ricky has no idea. Apparently, Ricky had hit the basket but rolled toward the edge of the circle. Yeah, that's what I say, buddy. McCray on circle's edge. Steve, what do you got for us?
Terry, are you ever able to give these guys updates during the round? Like, these are kind of a blind shot, but you've got someone in your ear. Can you ever give them an update?
Just a moment ago, I was attempting to let Ricky know what had happened. I didn't see it either. However, our catch cameraman was giving me the update. I relayed it to Ricky. I'm not sure he believed me.
It was pretty fun to watch, though. The smile on Ricky's face said he wanted to believe you.
I don't blame most of our players for not believing me.
As long as they believe in you.
Great time here. I've been very welcomed here in Jonesboro. Seems as if, as you said, everyone's polite and friendly. Kind of the Midwestern love that I'm used to in good old Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as some might say. Big Germ asking for that to hyzer at the last moment. A very awkward stance here for him. A little bit of the visual and the stance. And with the knee bend, a little body English drops that one in as we feel a slight tailwind pickup after Lizotte puts in for the birdie 3.
Simon doesn't seem to understand what a fast green is, and maybe you should play safe.
Ain't nobody got time for that. And a straddle putt is good by JohnE McCray from just inside the circle edge. And Wysocki also is going to move to circle's edge, however, on the left side of the pin. And Wysocki showing off the leg farmer tan as he cans the putt. Big Germ's looking to clean up. A little tentative there, however, he is in on the short putt. We're moving over to the backside in just a moment. Stay tuned. You're watching Live Disc Golf from Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flashlight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
Thank you all for coming.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here on hole number 10 of our second round at the Jonesboro Open. Myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by Steve Dodge. We are on the left side of the fairway, hanging out in the rough where Steve is usually finding his discs. And Wysocki's forehand is tracking toward the elevated basket. And that skips up and just past the basket. Ricky's still going to find a way to put it in.
Terry, I'm sensing we're going to be on ESPN soon because Jessica Weese off the cage on 6, Ricky under the cage on 8, and then bouncing just past it here on 10. It just feels like ESPN time.
Lizotte opts for the turnover. Again, somewhat interesting that Lizotte doesn't opt for the forehand. We could have saw it a few holes ago. It seemed like the optimum play, but he goes with the backhand turnover instead. We're going to see the same by JohnE McCray. And McCray has turned it over early into the right side rough. He will not look at a birdie from there. And Big Germ looks to be coming in nicely. We'll see if it has enough power to get to the pin. And he'll have another tester moving down here on hole number 10.
We can call that a Koling tester.
Turn.
She hit basket on this. There it is. Come on, baby.
Up.
Skip. Nice, Sarah.
Nice.
Oh, air ball.
He did to me yesterday.
And a moment ago, we saw Simon Lizotte simply lay up next to the pin. Big Germ walked by him, giving him I believe that was a chicken sound of sorts.
That was a cluck.
A cluck. What the cluck is going on here on hole 10?
And Big Germ said that yesterday Lizotte gave him the same indicator.
It's appropriate for Easter. The
Yes, definitely lots of chickens, pastel chickens for Easter. And McCray is at the base of the basket here. We saw Ricky Wysocki go just past the pin. You said that yesterday JohnE McCray was the only competitor of this foursome to birdie hole number 10. Both Wysocki and Koling in great position to do so today. And the elevated basket, just too much for Wysocki. Big Germ now, the only birdie opportunity remaining.
This is a 360-foot hole, and the best players in the world are averaging a 3 on it. This is a very hard hole, very fast green. Finishes left to right. Koling with the only opportunity for a birdie, and he slams it home. Well done, Jeremy.
Again, the pace moving along very nicely here throughout this round. We're glad you could join us here today for the second round. We're bringing you third and fourth round coverage, both Saturday and Sunday as we conclude on Easter. We're here at the Jonesboro Open. JohnE McCray taps in, and we'll be back with you after a word from our sponsors in just a few minutes.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Hey everyone, it's AJ Risley. I've been on the road for about 5 or 6 weeks now. I'm going to be on the road for another 5 or 6 months for the rest of the year, and I've got another pro tip for you. When you're playing as much golf as I do and as the rest of the touring pros do, you are on your feet for pretty much 5 or 6 days out of the week, so that means that your feet are going to be pretty tired. So what I like to do is I always have a nice pair of flip-flops in the trunk and usually an extra pair of socks to change into right when I get off the course, because I know my dogs are definitely barking. So I want to get into some nice comfy flip-flops, get my feet out of that foot jail, and relax. There you go.
And after some very lengthy action by our card here, Big Jerm, there was a healthy discussion about who's going to be going up the center of the fairway. We'll call it the traditional route, as Big Jerm referred to it. Sounds as if Simon Lizotte may be lining up. Big Jerm has executed this. Looks to be nice. He might be a little bit deep. He'll be tight up against the woods. He does have a forehand from there. Wysocki makes a grunt of sorts here of displeasure, but we all know if he doesn't ace, he's not happy. And Lizotte is, in fact, lining up a route. I am not in position. I'll see if I can get in better position. He's got a grin on his face, which is usually a little bit scary. And he goes with a turnover from the left side of the tee. Paige Pierce is out spotting the shot, and it goes behind her, and she gives a semi-thumbs up. And JohnE McCray is throwing straight up the middle. And again, McCray with a great-looking shot coming into the center fairway. That's going to be a little deep. Let's see what the women did earlier on this very hole.
Nice shot.
Steve, I don't even know what hole we're on. We're just wandering out here in between fairways. Simon Lizotte out in, wow, Simon Lizotte, besides being underneath a tree, looks like this is a really good cheater route.
This reminds me a lot of that Burt Reynolds movie, The Longest Yard. I don't know why exactly, but this does seem like a fantastic cheater route. Those guys did whatever it took to win. Simon has an amazing approach. This is... he's going to have the easiest birdie. Everybody birdied this hole yesterday, but I don't think they all did it that easily.
Burt Reynolds did other movies besides Cannonball Run?
Yeah, Sally Fields was his co in Smokey and the Bandit, one of my favorites. I didn't realize when I was watching it as an 8-year-old that, oh, look at that disc. That was somebody throwing.
And we're, again, out in Simon territory, so it's tough for us to tell. I'm guessing that would have been McCray. And here we have Wysocki lining up a forehand. And Wysocki is going to land right next to Simon, just a few feet behind.
I'm going to go ahead and say Simon's route was interesting, but it did not seem that advantageous.
Well, Simon had the opportunity to go basically straight at the pin, and he did not have to play any kind of forehand or turnover shot onto the hillside. So I'm going to completely disagree with you and think if you could put yourself where Simon did, that's going to be a much easier play 9 times out of 10 than these guys, because now they're all looking at the green. It's a blind green, and they have a slope to deal with and a very small pocket to hit.
So I'll go ahead and agree that you were right that Jeremy went a little deep, and he's got a very tricky approach here, which he executes perfectly. He's got a little tester, but I think that these guys are all set up for the birdie. But again, you were right. Simon has the easiest birdie. If it was me, I'd go the traditional route.
Well, you're certainly no Simon. Steve, it looks like it wants to possibly rain here, and I don't think it's going to, at least till Sunday, but a little bit of cloud cover is coming back in here in the late afternoon.
I would go ahead and venture to say that your weather perception is almost identical to mine. Back on hole 4, you said it was getting hot, and it was. Now it feels like it's going to rain. Maybe it's going to rain birdies.
And the uphill turbo putt attempt from just inside circle 2 is short and left. Yesterday you said that all 4 of these competitors birdied hole number 11 today. At best we'll see 3 out of 4 if Big Germ can convert. High side and in for Big Germ. Solid putt. Hopefully he found his stroke. And Ricky Wysocki with the birdie is going to move to 8 under on the round, pushing him to 21 under overall, maintaining a 4-stroke lead. McCray with the turbo fake. Not sure that's a thing. And Lizotte is in. We're moving on to hole 12 for the back third right here in Jonesboro. my thing it says no link, so that might have something now. And Simon Lizotte also with a crush here as we're adjusting some audio settings on.
Easy peasy. Sit. Now. Thank you.
Be pretty. Be pretty.
Sit.
Sit. Sit. Oh.
McCray throws blindly up and over the hillside. And McCray's approach is within 10 feet of the pin. Ricky Wysocki trying to pick his landing spot. Whoops. Forehand approach by Wysocki with a very fast green, however, checks up nicely. Looks as if a U-Haul has been rented to carry Big Germ's bag around. U-Haul are now a sponsor of the event.
A lot of times I don't know what I'm talking about, but this time I don't know what you're talking about. I see Josh Barnhill of Boom carrying Jeremy's Koling around, and
Jeremy joling.
Jeremy has a very tough shot here. He's right behind this 60-year-old fake ash tree, and if he does the flick, he's going to be riding left to right down that hill. And that is what he's doing.
That is one big ash tree, and he's going up and around with the flick. And nicely placed by Big germ. Looks to be inside 20 feet.
Terry, would you have recommended that he throw the hyzer there to land it into the hill and have it sit and have an uphill putt?
The angle that he had, I think, with his proficiency in forehand, that was probably his best route. He executed it very well. Simon comes up just a bit short. I think he had a chance to roll away had he gone with a hyzer and it caught edge. So I'm going to have to agree with Big Germ. Not too often do I, but this time I think that was the right move.
Good call.
And no fear by Jeremy, correction by Simon Lizotte. What some would refer to as a death putt. Big Germ, however, a little more even with the basket. The Big Germ seems to be back on as he gives himself a little fist pump. High and tight. Not just his haircut, but Wysocki is in. And there you have it. We're through 12. We'll be back in a moment right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And we are officially on to the remaining third of the round, holes 13 through 18, out here at the Disc Side of Heaven. Gorgeous course located in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by Steve Dodge, our Disc Golf Pro Tour Director. Big Germ is on the tee, 4 birdies on hole number 12. And this blind uphill shot, Big Germ is on the right side, just short of the pin. What did we see on this hole yesterday, Steve Dodge?
Yesterday, Jeremy and Simon both carded the birdie. Ricky and Johnny both got the par. This hole is averaging a little over par and is the 6th most difficult hole on the course. I guess blind and uphill makes it tough.
Steve, I'm starting to second guess how we have been reading, or you have been reading off the difficulty.
Sometimes second guessing Steve isn't a good idea.
Earlier you said that they were playing it under par on hole number 4?
Yeah.
So they were playing it under par, and it was the 16th most difficult. So I guess it's a matter of wording and phrasing.
Yeah, that would be the 3rd easiest, is another way to put that. 16 out of 18.
Okay, so now that I follow our nomenclature here, and
one of the fun things that happened on that hole, I'll tell you after we cut back from the women how that we had 2 holes at 16th most difficult.
We'll be back in a moment. Wysocki with plenty of speed and loft. Just a bit on the right side of the pin. This hole somewhat parallels hole number 17's fairway, so we're seeing a little bit of chatter from behind the players. Those are players just about wrapping up the round on 17. And McCray's step putt is right side as well, just like Wysocki's was. Just about from 40 feet. Now, Big Germ, right near the circle's edge, however, he's going to be challenged by some low-hanging branches. We'll see if he has to take a knee, possibly a straddle putt and or a knee.
If he hits this, he closes to within 4.
Big Germ just debating how many ticks he'd like to gain. Oh. Looks like he's going to go with a very unique putt here. He's got his right foot in front of him with his supporting point behind him. And one of the most unusual putts we've seen here on the tour. So close to putting that in. And jump just outside circle 1. Simon Lizotte cards the lone birdie. Koling's trickery not quite enough. That's going to put Simon Lizotte to 20 under par. Correction?
To 19.
That puts him to 19 under par. Just 3 strokes behind Ricky Wysocki, and he remains now 2 strokes ahead of Big Germ. Man, sometimes scores are tough. We're moving on to hole 14.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Just do it!
Lizotte is turning over. It's looking for a finish at the end. It's hyzering and hits a tree on the right side. Big Germ catches a wind gust here as that's pushing toward the left side. I know there's an angle from there. He'll have a hyzer approach. And Ricky is heading toward the OB. We'll see if he is stopped short of it. Tough to tell from our vantage point. There is a right to left wind coming at the player's face. And a nice gentle turn that's just finishing ever so softly on the left side. He likes it. We're moving down on hole 14.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that.
And welcome back, everyone. Yeah, just as we were coming back from break, we saw Ricky Wysocki throwing his third shot as he found himself OB off the tee. And he was running it right at the pin. He's come up short. He'll have an easy tap in for 4. As I mentioned earlier, Big Germ, what I meant by saying he's got an angle from over there, he actually will have the option to go behind the tree line. He may even have a little bit of a forehand flick to play to the backside of these trees. You really need to get it near the green here, as it is an elevated green and not a lot of space.
I was watching some of the footage from yesterday's filming, and Will Schuster was in a similar spot, threw a hammer up and over, and came within a couple of feet of the basket.
And Big Germ has placed himself within 15 feet of the pin. He'll have to be content with a 3. Now, as we were walking up to the tee, we heard that someone had hit pole or basket here. Is that what I heard?
James Conrad on the second card, which is being filmed by Prodigy Disc, so make sure to tune into that coverage. On hole 14, James Conrad hit the post from the tee.
I believe they call that a dot. And Simon with no good options other than a layup. Very rough off to this left side. JohnE McCray with a good attempt. I believe there is a little bit of poison ivy over there.
So, assuming that Ricky cards the 4, Simon will close the gap to 2. Jeremy will close the gap to 4. JohnE McCray will move to 16 down. 1 shot off the lead card for tomorrow. Chris Dickerson's playing hot.
And Wysocki's going to tap in for his first bogey of the tournament and just edges it in. We'll be back in a few moments from hole 15. Lizotte with a mid-range comes up short. Again, a collective gasp. Everybody's hoping for the ace, but out of his hand, you could tell he did not give it enough power. He knew as much as well. Big Germ with a spiking hyzer did not hang that out wide enough. The gallery wants to clap. They really shouldn't. And McCray puts himself just behind the pin. An appropriate response. And Wysocki also heading toward the pin, just past. Simon Lizotte was the only to not birdie yesterday. Let's see if he can do it today.
Come on.
Oh my God, messed up.
And Big Germ starts out the frame with a birdie. This was the second easiest hole found on the course yesterday. Averaged 2.4 and played as the second easiest on the course. And Ricky with solid concentration. Three for three, and McCray just 8 feet behind the pin. Expecting to see 8 throws, 4 birdies. Again, another star frame. A long and challenging par 5 is up next. We'll be back in a few moments right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
first to tee. This is considered a par 5. If we're going to quote Nate Sexton, he may say this is a soft par 5. This hole is played as one of the easiest holes. Is that correct, Steve?
This is the easiest hole. 20% of the players eagled this hole. In fact, are eagled yesterday.
If wants to take a 4 out here, this is the most likely place to do it. Ricky Wysocki managed to go 4-less yesterday. 2 4s, one
used in such a context.
Stick around. I got all sorts of things for you, Steve. McCray coming straight up the center of the fairway. Cameraman aside. Wysocki last to tee. Wysocki has lost 2 strokes in the last 2 holes. Himself up here on hole number 15. Let's see what the women did. We'll be back in a few moments. On the women's side, as I was out here filming, I'd like to thank Todd Dodge for filming the front 9 this morning. I ran out and grabbed the back 9 of the women's round. And Lizotte directing traffic, saying that McCray will be throwing next. McCray throwing out over the water with a turnover shot. And it looks like it's gone deep of the pin. Simon next to throw. Simon goes with a big spiking hyzer. He's going to need a little more distance to make sure he clears. Comes up just short of the pin. It sticks. And he's left himself inside the circle for the birdie or the eagle opportunity. Big Germ to be throwing next. Germ assessing. He's got a huge tree, the same tree that we found from the green of hole number 6. Looks like he has the option of going to the left of it or high and right, as we saw Simon Lizotte. However, his angle is much more challenging. He's going to need to put a lot of power on this, as it's going to have a tremendous amount of hyzer as well. And out into the right side of the tree. We'll have to see if this landing comes down and sticks. And a half-hearted applause. Steve, I couldn't see where that landed. What did you think?
I also couldn't see where it landed, but I do see a red flag, probably about 10 feet from it. I don't know if it's the inside or the outside of that flag.
Wysocki's able to go with a standstill approach. And the gallery likes it. We'll see how the women completed hole number 16. We'll be back in a moment. And McCray was 7 steps outside of circle 1, so he had paced it off himself, trying to assess just how far away he was. Big Germ looks to be about circle's edge. No problems for Big Germ. He's going to card the Eagle 3. And speaking of Eagles, Eagle McMahon not in attendance, however, celebrated his 19th birthday yesterday. Easy threesy, coined phrase by AJ Risley. Eagle for Mr. Wysocki. And for Lizotte. And these 4 played it in 7 under. We're moving on with just 2 to go.
My celebrity shot.
So, welcome back, everyone. We're here on hole 17. Big Germ has just elected. You want me to throw for you here? Is that what you're saying?
Shot. You're in.
Makes sense.
Get in there.
660.
I just figured you can't even throw it far enough to get it out of bounds, and that's really important. in this hole.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not going to make a comment about you throwing it there. So, Big Germ wishing he had my skills here today. As we are here on hole 17, 660 feet. Is this a mandatory, or does this just look pretty, our Zucca Disc Golf Pro Tour truss?
It is both. It has been clarified this morning with each card that this is, in fact, a triple mandatory. One of the concerns that course designer Brad Peets had was that people would hook way right and knock off some yardage, but hole 13 is over there. So this was put up partly for safety and partly because that's the whole design is to go straight and then make it a little dog leg to the right. This is playing as the 5th most difficult hole in the course. We finish with the most difficult hole in the course. These guys have a little opportunity to make up some room right here.
All right. Well, thanks to Zucca for your sponsorship here of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Simon Lizotte's on the team, ready to go. Simon 225. Tufia has cleared 300. Good looking shot by Simon Lizotte. And Big Germ is carrying toward the wood line that you spoke of earlier. He's hoping he's going to come up short of it. He definitely looked at me as if he wishes I would have thrown. This is Wysocki, third to tee. Wysocki thinks he's short. And low and up the middle by McCray. We're moving on. Let's see what the women did on hole 17.
I did this last round. Just give myself a putt. Turn it over. Nice putt. Great start. Thank you.
And welcome back to Big Germ's Nature Walk here on hole 17. He's found himself on the right side of the fairway and not where you want to be. You need to make this bend to have any look at getting up and down for the birdie. And he's going to spend a stroke or two just to get out of this nasty wooded area.
Jeremy, before he throws, does the right thing and make sure everybody is found. And in fact, it seems like Simon is not yet found. All right, so now everybody is found. It's a question of who goes next. In Virginia, we would say that Jeremy is morally out.
He is something. And first to throw is going to be JohnE McCray. Johnny trying to turn over a putter to head down toward the pin. However, it seems to pan out. It's going to be about 50 feet from the pin. Again, he needed a little bit more turn. I believe that right-hand side had him tentative. And Big Germ's going to try and hack through the woods here. This is what some would refer to as a hero shot. Let's hope he can execute this. A huge wind-up. And he hits a tree way up. It looks like it carried backward from the forward progress he did make. He's probably moved no more than 50 collective feet.
That is true, and it took him about 250 to do it. It looked like 5 feet farther backwards. I think he would have missed that tree and gotten up and over and had the hero shot you were looking for. We're on the 17th hole. We got to start thinking about who's going to be on the lead card tomorrow. Jeremy's in trouble on 17th. He's got 3 strokes to play with. Otherwise, he's falling back to 5th.
And a very difficult shot for Lizotte. He goes with the standstill turnover backhand, and it hits one of the guardian trees. However, it was a really good-looking angle. He had a tailwind that was pushing it down. That was a very challenging shot that he almost executed perfectly. And Big Germ, as we said, made up no more than 50 feet after throwing that forehand. And what I'm worried about here, Steve, is that he's looking at probably as nasty of a shot as he just had a few moments ago. He is by no means in the clear, literally or figuratively.
The one thing that's changed for him is he really has no choices here. From the other position, he could have gone backwards and around. At this point, he is deep in the woods.
Big Germ is going to have to be fully committed here. He's trying to buy some time, and Ricky Wysocki is going to throw next. And Wysocki has just about put it next to the basket, a few feet past. There is a premium on where Ricky Wysocki's drive has landed. As you saw, everyone else is challenged by their approach shots, and Ricky, center of the fairway with a very gentle hyzer approach. And Big Germ's going to be throwing his third shot, and he has a long way to go to the pin. And this time he's clean and out. However, the best he's going to muster here is a bogey 5. As you said, Steve, he could have opted for the pitch out and probably got up and down and walked away with the par 4. However, spent an extra stroke in the woods, and it's going to cost him the par.
It would have been a very challenging 5, even if he had gone back. He opted for the aggressive, I want to try to save the 3, and then maybe the 4. I don't know that he lost anything. Maybe lost half a stroke. But,
we'll see how half a stroke pays out later. And Big Germ waiting on his caddy. Josh from Boom, I think, is doubled up as a scorekeeper. But he may have taken a break.
He looks like a tired mule. Josh is from Ohio. We are in Arkansas. This is some hot and humid weather. And going up and down these hills, the first day I was here, it was miserable. Josh just stepped out of his car, put on a 50-pound pag, and walked around.
Jeremy drawing metal from over 100 feet away. Low pole for Big Germ. And it looked like the right angle, however, short by Lizotte from about 90 feet. High out of his hand. JohnE McCray looks behind him. I'm not sure if there was a distraction. However, McCray's attempt is high from just inside the circle. Wysocki left with less than 15 feet. And Ricky with a beautiful birdie 3 here. Wysocki will move to 25 under par. And he taps in. Just one hole to play during the second round. We'll be back in a moment.
Sun King Discs, established in 2001. Florida's most respected name in disc sports. Official retail merchandiser of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Currently on tour supporting Discraft and DGA live inventory, free shipping at $12. All orders $19.99, ships in a box, includes single discs, large selection of both stock and collectibles. Check out the website at www.sunkingdiscs.com.
Yeah, nice try. Nice. Come on now.
And Wysocki opting to go wide right. He's trying to take the field goal trees out of play. That's going to be off to the right-hand side. Simon Lizotte lining up a similar shot. Lizotte confirming he's next to tee. The German's always so polite here. Going up and to the right, as we saw by Wysocki. And McCray to follow suit. He's also taking the field goal trees out of play. Very calm winds out here. And Big Germ doing the same as the previous three. We've got a two-part series here for the women as they completed hole 18. We'll get to that in a moment as we move down the fairway. Our 36th hole of competition.
Not again. Woo! Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna be fucked. Not again. Oh my god, dude. Thank you.
There's a white one.
Yeah, what you're back here. Alright, we're all found now. Yeah, she's by a little bit.
I think I once heard, not all who wander are lost. Big Germ second guessing my inspirational quotes. I believe that's a quote also found on Ragnar Bigby's leg.
Leg?
Leg, as in a tattoo.
There's a time and there's a place, Terry.
This is it.
Pull yourself together, man.
And McCray has to opt for a pitch out. He gets no more than 80 feet. Definitely buried here in the woods. This shul on the right side.
One interesting point about McCray right now, if he bogeys this, he will fall off the lead card for tomorrow.
You can pass along that news if you'd like. And a laced drive here by Big Germ. Not much of a skip. The grass is a little longer up there, but he'll have a good look at a putt from there. Lizotte attacked by a vicious vine here on hole 18. I believe yesterday Big Germ and Ricky Wysocki were tied going into this hole. Wysocki took the birdie, Big Germ bogeyed it yesterday, And I've been informed that that last shot is in fact parked by Big Germ.
Well, yesterday he was about 12 feet away and managed to not make that putt. So with that shot by Ricky, things just got a little more interesting on the lead card.
Lizotte has yet to throw his second shot. It's also carrying toward the pin. Looks to be about 30 feet. We'll have JohnE McCray and Ricky Wysocki, and then after that we'll move up the fairway and show you the completion of the women's round. McCray needs to get up and down in 2 strokes to remain on tomorrow's lead card. Finds himself on the edge of the circle. I did want to invite everyone. Big Germ talked about a tick checking party. Stop by his place later for a tick checking party. I don't know. He told me to pass on the news. Open invite. And a great shot by Wysocki. Let's see how the women completed earlier today.
Be in bounds.
Very nice.
And as Steve Dodge said, with that par, JohnE McCray remains on the lead card tomorrow. Solid putt by Simon Lizotte from just inside the circle. That pulls him within 2 strokes of Ricky Wysocki. Simon started the round with a 2-stroke advantage over Koling, and now instead it'll be 2 over Lizotte. And Big Germ's got this, even with some early putting woes. He's got this all day. And an easy tap in. There you have it, Steve Dodge. We have wrapped up here for our second round. We are 36 holes complete, otherwise halfway through. Pretty exciting golf we saw here today in about a 3-hour round.
If it's 6 o'clock local time, I'll give you 5:52. Nicely done. We got 8 minutes to close this thing out. I would like to say a couple of exciting things that I saw. Yes, it was an amazing round. Ricky had a putt early that hit, bounced back, decided to stay in. That could have gone either way. And Johnny's last putt looked like it wanted to trickle out the backside, decided to stay in and keep him on the lead card. Two putts that actually kind of got my heart going a little faster.
Well, we saw all 4 players go big on hole 18, go out and around, and looks like they're trying to take those field goal trees out of play. We'll see if that's going to continue to be the play the rest of the weekend. I feel like this hole is going to be very significant, possibly for that title, but also there could be a number of other people that shift in scores as they're wrapping up this tournament. This is a real killer.
It really is, and for example, Devin Owens was 10 down coming into this hole and had an opportunity to jump up to the lead card and ended up bogeying this hole instead of birdieing it. And I don't know what route he took, but in talking with some of the bigger guns, Simon Lizotte, Will Shoestrick earlier, they said the way to get the birdie 3 is to take the pipe, not to go around. If you go around, you don't get enough distance. Clearly, Simon disagreed with himself this afternoon, went around, and he did, in fact, card the relatively easy-looking 3.
All right. Well, again, we're halfway through. We've got an exciting remainder of the weekend. Of course, more live action going to come to you tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be starting again at 3 p.m. Central, so make sure you tune in for that. If somebody was anywhere within a few hours of here, what can they check out if they come on site in the next 2 days?
So tomorrow is going to be the big day. We'll have the festival going in the morning from noon to 2. I guess that's not quite morning, but for some of us that's morning. We'll have the festival going from noon to 2. The lead card goes off at 3. 3 to 6-ish, and then from 6 to 10, we'll have the Festival of the Flying Disc going on. If you're close, tomorrow is the day to be here. And then Sunday, have the final round, ladies going off at 9, men going off at 1:30. If you're close, Sunday is the day to be here.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a couple days that you need to be here. I'd like to send some shout-outs. First of all, UDisc and UDisc Live, all of everything that Matt and Josh do over at UDisc are what help provide us a little bit of insight, or should I say a lot of insight, as to what's going on out here once we learn the difficulties of the holes. So thank you to Matt and Josh. Also, thank you to the rest of our crew. We've got Chad on the catch camera, Todd on the throw camera, Gary to the O back at Control Center, along with Johnny V. For Steve Dodge and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, we've got 2 or 3 more things from Steve.
You mentioned a lot of the crew, but we've got to mention a huge shout-out to Baker Helton, to Zach Podhorzer, and to Jerry Roth doing the write-ups at the end of each night. Everybody's going to dgpt.com and checking out those write-ups of the rounds. My guess is they'll be up in less than an hour. Fantastic, good job for those guys as well. And I'll say for Brad Peets, for Jordan, for the rest of the crew here, thank you very much. Have a great night.
Steve Dodge and Terry Miller. We'll see you tomorrow when you step inside the Smashbox.